Ho, ho, ho! Mrs. Claus has been feeling a little neglected with me working in the factory with the elves doing last-minute preparations for Christmas Eve. So I thought I'd ask my friends at Cruise News Network if I could take over the channel this week as I plan a one-month getaway for myself and the missus. Because ho ho, what better way to recover from a long year of hard work at the North Pole than with a month full of back-to-back cruises? Ho ho ho! Give me a thumbs up right now if you have been a good boy or girl this year. I know, you might be worried that I'm considering retiring on a cruise ship. Don't you worry about that. Old Santa is still just as jolly as ever to be living at the North Pole, where I can keep an eye on all of you and make sure you're being good. But even I need a vacation sometimes. And January is such a great time to take a cruise. So as you can see, I'm focusing my search on southern destinations because we get plenty of cold weather up here in the North Pole. So I could use a little change. I'd like to first start by finding one that leaves right after Christmas. I really don't want the missus to have to wait. It gets pretty chaotic here at the North Pole toward the very end of our working season, and I don't want her to have to wait much at all to get on board a lovely ship and have some relaxation. As I'm looking through these, I'm seeing a lot of them are Royal Caribbean's smaller ships. And I think I don't want that because I tend to get recognized more on the smaller ships. And believe you me, once word gets out that Santa is on board, I don't get a moment to myself. On the upside, everyone starts acting on their best behavior when they find out that I'm on the ship, which always gives me a chuckle. Ho, ho, ho! But the missus and I really need a little time to ourselves to recover from the big day and get ourselves ready for another year of toy making. So I think I'll stick with a bigger cruise ship this time. So I think I'll go with these ones and see what I come up with. Keep in mind that I'm wanting to book back-to-back cruises so that there won't be any hotel stays at all in between our itineraries. Now my next step is to find one that leaves right after Christmas. I don't want to leave on Christmas itself, of course, because even Santa isn't at his jolliest after he's been up all night delivering gifts to good boys and girls on Christmas Eve. So I'm hoping for something on the 26th or 27th, but it looks like the best I can come up with is the 28th. And I think that will work just fine. I also like that I'll be on the Oasis of the Seas. I love Oasis-class ships because there are so many places to relax and eat all sorts of foods that we just don't get up here at the North Pole. I also enjoy the water slides and their dry slide, and it might surprise you to know that Santa is actually a pretty good surfer on the Flow Rider. But I might be a little too big for the zip line right now. I got the side-eye from Dasher and Prancer and a couple of the other reindeer when I was in the stable the other day and eating a stack of Mrs. Claus's amazing Christmas cookies. So maybe I'll avoid the zip line because, ho, 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 that might be a calamity. So you can see that I'm putting myself and Mrs. Claus in a balcony cabin because we spend so much time indoors here in the North Pole that it's just good to get that lovely, fresh ocean air as much as possible. And I'm also choosing my own balcony cabin whenever I can because I do prefer being midship so that I can be in the middle of the action. But ho ho holy flying reindeer! The balcony cabin I want is sold out. That will teach Santa a valuable lesson about booking too late in the game. But I know Mrs. Claus will appreciate me spending extra and getting her a bigger balcony for this first cruise, even though it costs a lot more. But what a price! I should have booked this further in advance, and if I were particularly savvy, I would avoid traveling during the holiday season and that time of year when all the good boys and girls get time off from school. But the fact is, Mrs. Claus and I need this trip right after Christmas, because in February, I need to be back at the North Pole helping the elves plan for next year. And the good news is that my next cruise is a whole lot cheaper than my first one. That makes Santa a whole lot jollier. I'm so excited to see that I'll get several trips to Royal Caribbean's beautiful private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And it's not just because of all those water slides and beaches. It's because I'm Santa Claus, and I love anything with the word Coco in it. I'll also be seeing not just the Eastern and Western Caribbean with this month of sailings, but also the Southern Caribbean. I'm feeling jollier by the minute as I plan this trip. And for those of you who might not have known I loved cruising, well, ho ho ho, where do you think I got my, what is it you called it, ho ho ho? Even though I'm very tempted to spring for one of those nice suites that the good boys and girls at Royal Caribbean designed, I'd rather save that extra money and give it to a good charity, because that's what the Christmas spirit is all about. Not just giving to the people we love, but also to people who are in need. And I'm sure all of you are planning on doing that this year too. In fact, my good friends here at Cruise News Network sell lots of fun t-shirts in the links below, and then they give a portion of the money they raise to charities that help our veterans and also charities that help animals. And they joke that they're doing it to stay on my nice list, but I think they're just doing it because they like that good feeling that comes from helping someone, don't you think? So be sure to check out their fun cruise-loving merchandise here on their YouTube channel. So that brings my month-long escape from the harsh North Pole winter to a total of $24,713.08. Then I add in Royal Caribbean's standard gratuities, which is $18 per person per day, and the total comes to $26,009.08. That's a nice gift that I can give Mrs. Claus this year, don't you think? I'd like to thank the nice folks at Cruise News Network for letting me take over this week's video, and I'll put you on my nice list if you hit that subscribe button right now, so that you'll see more of their content about cruising. And remember, there's still time to avoid the naughty list. Just be good to each other, and this wonderful planet I get to travel every Christmas Eve. It's back to work for me as I make my final preparations for the big night. So I look forward to visiting each of you as you're tucked into bed and fast asleep. In the meantime, enjoy a safe and joyous holiday season.